Don't forget, we're live on the YouTube and the Facebook on the 0705 69009. Call 0802 502 7711. You can also call 0802 978 8003. 0802 978 8003. All right, let me come to Dr. Aderonke. Dr. Aderonke, are you there? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, yes.
All right, now, will you say this is as a result of bad parenting? But before I come there, let's quickly pick this call. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost that. Yes, the phone lines again is 0705 690 0927. 070 569000927. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, this is Andrew calling from Ireland.
All right, Andrew calling from Lagos Island. Please, Andrew, make your comment.
The state government can adopt that. It will also be fine. It will help the students because most of them, once they go to universities, they know that they leave homes. Parents don't really monitor their dresses and whatever they do. But when they have a management that can curtail and be able to monitor some of these things, it will help to go a long way. So it's a nice one. I like this talk show this morning. Please let them go ahead and do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, again, the phone lines is 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711 or 0705 690 0927. I'll come to Dr. Aderonke. I was asking, will you say this is as a result of bad parenting?
I would not say, it's difficult for me to just point
when a woman walks around braless, what does it tell you? Is it that sometimes some elders will say, well, Cornelia, that's in Yoruba, probably they're not well trained. She's not well trained at home.
Yeah, no, it's a combination of things. If you look back 10 years ago,
okay,
it was not acceptable in society at all. And so you wouldn't find any...
Has a lot to do as regards the proper upbringing of a child or the children, as the case may be.
Some parents, once their child crosses the age of 18, they feel like, well, she's an adult, he's an adult. Let him do whatever it is, especially in the Southwest.
Even we adults still need supervision. I'm sure you know.
Sincerely, I think this age of the social media also contributed a lot to the reason why we had the Gen Z, the millennial, all this, is also a contributory factor to the reason why we are having all these kind of attitude, all these strange behaviors and the likes, because you wonder why somebody will feel comfortable leaving your house. Not a case of you forgot or you didn't remember, and you go in the midst of the people walking around, and people are like noticing that it looks like maybe she forgot to, and you'll be wondering, and they don't care about it. It's very common now.
Very.
It's like there's something that is now in vogue now. You see people walking around town, and you can easily say, out of every about 5 women, you can easily say I think 2 are not. And I don't know, maybe madam, and again, you said you wanted to ask her the other time, how did they arrive at no bra day? Maybe she can also explain to us.
She should have something to say about that.
Can I say something about that?
Please go ahead.
So, for the no bra day is usually in October.
Okay.
Yes, and the no bra day is the date, I think 13th. Yes, it's to celebrate women who have lost their breast due to cancer.
Okay. Oh.
Yes. So the society.
Yes,
they've taken it up and then they've misplaced the goal. Yeah. Yes. So the goal for the no bra day, because I've once worked with an NGO that supports breast cancer, Shebekle Cancer Care. So what they do is that every 13th October they do it to encourage women, because once they have breast cancer, they have to remove the breasts. and then so that they don't feel left out.
Okay.
But then the society are like, okay, today is no bra day, and then so I'm going out without my bra. How will you be comfortable? So I guess there's a
misplaced priority.
Yeah, misplaced priority there.
Did this make me want to ask earlier that is this not a misplaced priority?
It's to celebrate breast cancer awareness. Yes, the no bra day.
Dr. Oderoke, do you want to subscribe to her?
I actually beg to differ. I think it has gone beyond a recognition of sort of the plight of breast cancer survivors and, you know, breast cancer awareness. I think right now it's a little beyond that, and has become sort of more of a fashion statement and a fad than the seriousness that we must carry when we think about breast cancer and breast cancer survivors. You know, it's, you know, I hate to call out Gen Zs, but I think it's more aligned with that spirit of we do what we want to do when we want to do it, how we want to do it. And sadly, they've taken something that's serious and, you know, are using it, you know, on a daily basis. You know, I was in Lagos yesterday at a hairdresser, and I'm sitting and I'm watching people passing, and you cannot believe the number of, you know, young girls that I saw, you know, on this, braless mission. And
it's really a mission. I love that. I love that language, the mission. What's the end of the mission, please? I need to have.
Yeah. Again, I think it's back to that we don't care, we're going to do what we want to do. But they are not thinking about the impact of what they're doing, not only on society, but on their safety. And on any kind of public decorum. I think, you know, if we will all be honest with ourselves, it does put them at risk walking around in those situations, which, you know, as a woman, we can argue, you know, left, right, and center and say, you know, the fact what I wear should not impact whether or not I get, you know, harassed sexually or things like that. But in some vein, when you're dressing provocatively, sexually provocatively, it has to be curtailed because you are opening up yourself to more risk in that way. So it is, you know, I think it's a Gen Z thing, it's a fad, and it has to be curtailed because the disaster that could happen as a result of this is more than I think our society is ready to manage.
All right, let me come to Barrister DJ. I don't know if you can hear me. You had Dr. Oderoke there. How can this be curtailed? You are a lawyer. You're also a lecturer. How, Barrister DJ, can you hear me? Are you there? Barrister, okay, I guess is being back on. So let me come to how can government, you know, curtail? Would there be policy? Would there be laws? How can government curtail this movement or this mission, like she says?
Hello.
Okay, Barrister is back.
Hello.
Okay, Barrister, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right, Barrister, I was asking. I said, how can this be curtailed? Dr. Oderoke was saying that this mission, like she says, this braless mission in Nigeria need to be curtailed. How can this be curtailed? You are a lawyer. You're also a lecturer in a prestigious university here in Nigeria. How can the government curtail this mission?
Yes, I think part of what can be done is this policy that a kind of dress code policy for most universities. And also the public people may want to go through. If you are going into a public office or see that will be spread across board. Okay. Also, enlightenment will be needed to be able to pass this message through to many of our young ladies who are perhaps the section of the society that is affected by this trend or this fad that Doctor has just mentioned.
I want to put it to you. Okay, and also go ahead.
Yes, but there is also a ray of caution on the matter that we don't have the risk that Doctor was talking about can also be mitigated because we have a lot of cases, rape cases, all over, especially among young people. Hello?
I'm with you, Doctor.
Hello?
I'm with you.
Yes. We have a lot of rape cases among young people. And these are the platform upon which some of these cases come up. So if you are visiting a friend, for instance, braless, or you are going to the student hostel, braless, that kind of a thing. We have those kind of incidents on the campuses where even some young girls go into the office of the lecturer, or even braless, and a lot of their body exposed and all of that. And they later come to talk about indecent harassment or sexual harassment by the lecturer and all of that. But that's not to say that it's a justification anyway, that dressing or exposure is the justification for those harassment.
Let me put it to you, Barrister. Let me put it to you at this point. Yes. How do you, as a lecturer, undo the Gen Zs? Because sometimes they feel hesitant when you want to correct them. They get hangry. You know how they behave sometimes. So how do you handle them in a university setting like that?
Yes. What we do is that once they come into the class and you notice it, you ask the person to stand up and you make that person a public example. You know, tell the student why that student is not properly dressed. And sometimes you send them out of the class. By the time you do that over and over again to some of them, they will be careful if they are coming into your class, how they conduct themselves and the kind of thing they put on. You know, because it's almost becoming a reckless thing now, a current decima, that they dress anyhow into the class. You know, some of them are so callous, some of them are so careless. They put on all manner of strange things, you know, see-through blouses and all of that. It's becoming a very crazy fact. And we need to curb it at this point. So the university tries to enforce it by imposing discipline on those who do it. Sometimes they are not allowed to enter the campus, even from the gate of the campus. Okay, they are not allowed to come in, and they are not allowed to stay in class, even with the kind of dressing they are based on the kind of dressing they are putting on, and all of that. So that has brought some sanity to our own university, but it's not yet to huru. It's not yet to huru. We have not gotten there yet because there are still violations.
We're not there yet.
We need to continue. We need to continue to educate these students.
Thank you very much for that. Lagos, don't forget we're live on YouTube and Facebook at Super FM Lagos. Yes, we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Super FM Lagos. Now let's go back to the phone lines 0705 690 0927. 0705 690 0927. Or you can also call 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. That's a line to call us and be part of this conversation. Parent, yes, it's a very, very important part we're heading to right now. Okay, there's this.
Sorry, I actually wanted to add something to what the barrister said.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay, so he talked about implementing policies, and I feel this is actually a challenge to our leadership in Nigeria at large. Okay, so we actually have these policies in place, but I think the implementation is actually where we are having a challenge. If you go back to August 2019, there was actually a policy that was made as regards indecent dressing in the society. This was not even for institutions only, but for the society at large. So we have these policies. How do we implement them? Okay, so it's the implementation actually that it's about. We have these policies. So it's just setting up strategies on how we can implement them. So for like that, for the situation of that which we have in 2019, I'm sure that was as a result of people getting to know that these things were actually getting out of hands. Now, this was brought into law and it was implemented, but do we really follow it? Do we really set out strategies to map out how these things can be curbed? So I feel that we just need implementation. There are laws, there are policies, there are rules, but how do we make them effective is what we should be looking at.
You want to comment?
Maybe as a backup to what he just said, in our society today, we all complain about this menace of corruption, and bad behaviors. It is because there are laws for those who find their still nobody is going to find you worthy of what you have done. So it is because there is no sanction for bad behavior is the reason why what we are talking about is part of what brought us to where we are today. And again, aside from the home, in our religious places, we must also try to also bring it back in. I know our pastors, our imams, they also do this regularly, but I think we can also make it a point of duty in ensuring that we speak more of the need for us to be moral. Of course, we almost lost our virtues. Yes. Our values in the society now is almost like gone. We don't recognize the values, our traditions, our culture any longer. So I think it is a holistic need for all of us as parents, as society, as schools, as religious places, and even the media, just like we are doing now, is that we are doing advocacy on the need for us, our society at large, to ensure that we dress properly and we conduct ourselves in a manner that will not be regarded as abnormal in the society.
All right, in case you're just tuning in, right here on Super FM 92.7, yes, we're highlighting what happened far away in Ogun State, where the management of Olabisi Onabanjo University sparked conversation over the enforcement of its no bra, no examination policy. Well, there's been this viral video on X purportedly showing officials of the institutions inspecting female students before they are admitted into exam halls. The female students stood in line while the officials touched their chest to determine whether they wore underwear. And we have a guest right here who have been doing justice to the conversation. Yes, the numbers is 0802 502 7711. 0802 502 7711. Or you can also reach us via WhatsApp on 0705 6900 927. 0705 6900 927. All right, let me come to Mrs. Abosade right here. I'll take something. I said this place, citadel of learning, it isn't some religious institutions. It's a place where brains are being developed. So such concentration shouldn't be on no bra, no exam policy. How do you react to that?
Okay. Now, when the brain is being developed, it doesn't have to leave you, dressing indecently. Decency is part of it as well. And we are talking about education here. Like I said earlier, education is raising a whole human being. You can't just neglect some parts. And that is why we all have work to do. The parents, the society, everyone, we need to do this together. So you can't say, okay, this is education, and then it's about the brain. Your brain, okay, I'm not dressing properly, and then I'm going out. No. So there should be a level of moderacy, yes, in whatever we do. So that's my view to that.
All right. So Dr. Neronke, are you there? There've been a call that these people who were caught in the video should be retired. Do you agree with that? Dr. Neronke, can you hear me? Okay, I guess she's... Barrister.
Hello, Mike.
Barrister, you want to say something?
Yes. Yes, I have an angle to this issue.
Okay.
Talking about enforcement and implementation.
Okay.
All right. There are laws in the country on public obscene, the law of Public Obscene Act, which criminalizes these indecent exposures and cases of persons and all these persons and all these issues that fall under dress.
And don't forget our right to right of freedom of religious.
Yes, it's actually a criminal law. It's actually a criminal issue.
Okay.
It's a criminal law. It's an act of the National Assembly, that is set to regulate this particular issue we are discussing. But unfortunately, the police do not enforce this particular law. It's almost as if society today And of course, until it is enforced as a criminal issue, I don't think Nigerians, maybe to just set some examples, I don't think Nigerians will stop this particular vice.
If we look at it legally, Barrister, if we look at it legally, we have laws. We have recently also this university course. There are freedom of religion and dress. There are some of these things that legally are right, and some are wrong. So how do we substantiate all of this together with what has happened in Ogun State?
You see, there is a balance. There is a balance in the law.
Okay.
Most as you have fundamental rights, under the provisions of the Constitution, there is also a balance to it that laws that are reasonably justifiable in democratic society are permitted as part of the existing laws of the state. And that's why laws like the Public Obscene Act, they fall under those kind of exceptions, to the general exercise of fundamental rights of persons. So, for instance, the fundamental right as to degrading treatment of an individual, as to issue of torture, as to issue of inhuman treatment, and all of that, are subject to the Public Obscene Act. Because if, for instance, the laws of the state prescribe certain decent way of dressing, and your dressing falls below that minimum standard that is expected for social order or to avoid social vices, of course, it becomes a crime under that law, and it can be prosecuted. The person can be charged and can be convicted for it. So maybe if they would begin to now make people to realize the danger of violating the law, I think maybe it will also instill some discipline. And then also the issue of the education. Some people have argued that the rights of the student, yes, it's good to be cautious about it, but you discover that education is also about character and learning. It's about discipline. It's not just about teaching the students how to succeed in their educational vocation and all of that, but it also covers their character, their attitude, their moral values, and all of that.
All right, Barrister, because of our time, quickly, thank you very much for that. Dr. Deronke, I had the call for you, but probably you're not available. Let's quickly have this. Uniforms in universities.
I can hear you.
Okay, well, because of our time, quickly, what will you say? They have been calling for uniforms, universities to probably buy the idea of uniforms. Do you agree to that, quickly? In seconds,
Unfortunately
10 seconds,
not.
do you agree to
I think
having
some
private universities do have it?
I don't agree with it. Part of the purpose of universities is preparing our students to be adults and to be ready for the world outside of academia. And keeping them in uniforms does not promote that. So
all right, thank you. Let me hold that. Keeping them in uniform does not promote that. Let me come to Bernard. Bernard, do you agree uniforms for universities?
Well, I will not say yes to that because I believe that at that stage of our lives, we should be matured enough to decide on what to do. I mean, we can actually say what is right or wrong. So we shouldn't, or the institution should not be deciding on what you should wear. Normally, you should know what to wear.
All right. What about you, Mrs. Bosade?
Okay, for me, it's a no. Bringing uniform into universities. We are adults.